Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Here we go. It's the first of 4 in Yankee Stadium against the team with the best record in baseball, the New York Yankees. But wait a minute. Tonight's starting lineup includes former Indian Gio Urshela in the cleanup spot. Then there's Mike Tauchman in left field. And rounding out the order, Mike Ford, the DH. How can that scare you? I know it's going to be a different situation once the playoffs begin, but right now with Yasiel Puig back, the Indians have a better lineup than the Yankees do. I understand that Adam Plutko will be on the mound tonight, but the Yanks are going to go with a bullpen game led by somebody named Chad Green. 41 games remain for the Tribe. It would be a good start against a good team that they can beat, and that's the New York Yankees. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into our 23rd year, and pretty soon it'll be 24th year. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, is here, and before we get into the Browns and the Indians and all that breaking news, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and everything's okay, but he was involved in a plane crash today with his wife and his 1-year-old daughter, and 2 pilots. It skidded off the runway in an airport in Tennessee, but thankfully, and when you see the pictures, it's horrific, but apparently everybody's okay. D-Man, you interviewed him, class act, right?
Yeah, I interviewed him a couple years ago when he was still racing in NASCAR, and yeah, tremendous guy. I'd heard such great things about him as an interview subject, and our phone interview could not have gone better. In fact, it was from Daytona. And, yeah, I mean, this is really scary. It's really sobering. It happens a couple hours ago. And you see the video, the plane skidded off the runway and caught fire.
Yeah, and you look at cars going by and say, how did nobody get hurt in this?
Right, 2 pilots, and then Earnhardt, his wife, and his 1-year-old. Yeah. And by the accounts of, including his sister, saying they were taken to the hospital and treated, but there are no significant injuries.
Right, for further evaluation.
We thank God for that.
All right, the other thing, Mary Kay Cabot of cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, give me that quote with all the fights going on in Indianapolis.
This
what did
just
she say?
Came through. She tweeted this at 5:41 p.m. The Browns-Colts practice has gotten out of control with fights. Time to call it.
Time to start Saturday's game.
Yeah, throw in the towel. Ray Armstrong and a Colts player trade punches 2 fights ago. So, as expected, when you have these, what are they called? Joint practices, not really scrimmages, but there's always going to be dust-ups. Guys are in bad moods. They get to see the quote-unquote enemy, the other team. Right. It's hot, so fights are breaking out everywhere.
And you know that freddie-kitchens is going to say, well, that's totally uncalled for. But you know when they signed off on it, you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, and I wonder if part of this isn't when Kitchens said, we're not about fighting, but then we're also not about backing down either.
Right. Which one do you want?
So maybe his team is like, well, we're not going to get pushed around while we try not to fight. If you push us too far, we're going to fight back.
All right, we're going to talk more about that, but they got a big series coming up. The Indians, within an hour now, the Indians and the New York Yankees. And in my Truth and Reason, D-Man, that this is a vaunted team, the New York Yankees, but not so vaunted when Gio Urshela is batting 4th and you have guys batting 8th and 9th who you never heard of. But on the other hand, they're playing great baseball.
Yeah, I've been locked onto this series since the moment the Indians lost the final game of the Red Sox series, because it's 4 games, it's in the boogie down, it's against a team that is 81-41 despite their myriad injuries. So I cannot wait for this thing to get underway. And you've talked me down from the ledge a little bit because I was concerned about tonight. No disrespect to Plutko, but I wondered about how he's going to play in Yankee Stadium or how he's going to pitch in Yankee Stadium. But when you pointed out the lower half of that lineup, who knows?
All right, there you see the matchup, Plutko versus Green. That's tonight. Then I assume that's a bullpen game, right, for them?
Oh, yeah. Green is their bullpen guy, yes.
All right, Aaron Savali, who's been tremendous in his couple outings, will start. That'll be Friday night at Yankee Stadium. Tanaka goes for the Yanks.
Tanaka's been a disappointment for them.
Yeah, then we get to the weekend. Zach Plesac against James Paxton, and Mike Clevenger Saturday against CeCe, who's trying to hang in there for one last go at it.
Yeah, the Indians look at the series and look at those probables and say, none of the pitching matchups favors the Yankees.
Not
I don't
much.
think. Now, the Yankees would say Friday's does, because Tanaka being the old warhorse against Savali, but the Indians counter by saying, well, Savali's pitching well and Tanaka isn't.
Right.
So we'll see. It is, you pointed out about Puig returning. That was one of my takeaways from the Red Sox series, was how glaring the absence of Yasiel Puig was. He misses the series because he drops his appeal on the 3-game suspension. Thank you, by the way, Reds, for pulling him out of the game. Of course, you didn't, and he got suspended in that brawl. But that was pretty glaring to me, and that speaks to the immediate impact that Puig has had.
Right, absolutely.
Because you noticed that he wasn't in that lineup.
No question about it. The lineup looks better than it has, but he's the key in the 4th spot. All right, so yesterday when we did the show, we got the news that the Minnesota Twins wound up losing, giving one away to the Milwaukee Brewers. Now they host Texas for 4 games at the Twin Cities. But the concern here is the Indians are now a half game behind, D-Man. It could have been worse, but they are a half game behind. The schedule really, really, really favors the Minnesota Twins. Really, really. Did I say that enough times?
Yeah, it does.
Let's take a look. Go ahead.
Well, there's no question. Here we go.
All right, the remaining schedule, this is 2 pages worth. At the Yankees and at the Mets, 4 games and 3 games. This is the Indians now. 3 at home against the Royals, then they go on the road for the Tigers, the Rays. White Sox come to Cleveland, then they're at the Twins. Isn't that strange that they come home for 2 separate, can't even call them sets of series. It's just one series.
Freeze that, Brian, right there. Hold on to that. I'm saying you've got to go, and I'm looking at the 7-game stretch Yankees-Mets. I say you get out of there 4-3, you're okay.
Right.
Next set of 6, you got to go 5-1.
Yep.
Royals and Tigers, the tomato cans. Then the Rays, White Sox, Twins, I'm looking at 7-10. I think 6-4, given the quality of the Rays and the Twins. 6-4,
well, you may say
with
they
that.
need more than that when you look at Minnesota's finish. But let's go to the rest of the Indians here as we finish out the 41 games. You've got at the Angels, so that's a tough, long trip, a 3-game series. Then they have the Twins at home for 3, and the Tigers at home also for 3. Then the Phillies come to town with Charlie Manuel.
Yeah.
How about he comes back and they scored 100 runs last night, I think. And then you got the White Sox for 3 games, and then finish it off in a stupid scheduling moment at the Nationals. You got to use the pitcher hitting in that game.
I don't like, and that's a tough way to end the season, especially if the Nats are playing for something.
Right.
If they're in that wild card hunt.
Yeah, you want them to rest. You want them to rest their starters.
You hope Scherzer decides to shut it down if the Nationals are out of it, but that could turn out to be a very difficult series.
All right, let's take a look at how easy Minnesota has it the rest of the way. They got 4 at home against the Rangers starting tonight.
I still respect the Rangers' offense enough, though.
I do too.
I don't think they sweep them.
You got the White Sox and Tigers, 6 games there. Throw the White Sox back in, it's a total of 9 games. And the Tiger make that 12 games. Then they do finish tough, although Boston will be out of it. It'll be over with at that point, I would guess. And the Indians for 3 games. Then they finish it off with the Nationals for 3, the Indians for 3.
Yeah, that final. Oh, Les, why did you have to show me? You and Brian show me the final.
Look how easy
13
that is.
games.
Look
Ouch.
how easy. White Sox, Royals, Tigers, and Royals. Ouch.
I mean, that's a final 13 where I think the Twins can realistically go 11-2.
Well,
so
that's a problem.
If you got 13 games left, you better be in front of them because that's an easy finish.
Is Kluber in the rotation at that time?
Entirely possible, yeah. I mean, I think he's very close. It's obvious,
right.
But as to what he's going to be, what's his threshold going to be in terms of pitches?
75 pitches, I would guess.
I think they want him to be a starter here for the remainder of the season, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's a bullpen guy in the playoffs.
And what about Carrasco?
Shocked
chance to see him?
me that he's available potentially, and that he's going to throw to live hitters. I think in
Tomorrow.
Lake County, tomorrow. So that's another bonus. You couldn't have expected him to return after the leukemia diagnosis. So if you get Carrasco lurking in the back end of your bullpen,
well,
all of a sudden,
then it's not the rookies that you're talking about are second year.
Right, and you also add more power to the back end of the bullpen. Yeah. The Indians don't have a lot of velo out of their relievers beyond Brad Hand.
Speaking of the relievers, what's going on? Just tired arms at this point of the season that they'll regain, or do you think they've hit the wall here?
Well, I think specifically Brad Hand is in a little bit of a slump, which he's entitled to be in. Every pitcher, every player that I know of has gone through a slump over the course of a 6-month season. It's more magnified when you're a starting pitcher or when you're a closer because you don't get that many opportunities, unlike a regular player. I think Hand will be okay. I'm looking at the quality of his breaking pitch, the quality of his fastball. I don't see a dramatic drop-off. I think he's missing spots.
No, but my concern with him,
thing.
My concern with him is it looked like he was just flinging it up there and hoping against hope that something good would happen.
It could be, and that's a command issue where you're not able to throw the ball where you want to within the strike zone. But I didn't think that he was throwing a hanger in terms of a breaking ball. It's not like his velo has dropped precipitously, so I'm not worried about Hand. The other guys, I mean, you have to live with kind of a mishmash here. I mean, it's not a red letter bullpen. It's not an awesome, bunch of names who throw 98.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, who was getting glowing reports for his work on WTAM 1100.
From my fan
kudos
club
to
of
you.
One. Well, I appreciate it. We had a 4-hour show last night. And
you got anything left for today?
Well, I mean, I didn't feel particularly good yesterday. I still am struggling, but I'm excited to be here, which
play through pain.
Lifts my spirits. My daughter started school today, so I'm buoyed by that. She said she's thrilled to be back.
Buoyed by that?
Yeah. Buoyed.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a fun show last night, and when you announce it on the air that I have a show, more people show up and more people text, so I'm excited. Friday night, post-game show after the Indians-Yankees.
Is that right? This tomorrow night?
Yes.
Terrific. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Shane-Bieber has put himself into some pretty good company. We'll talk about that and more when we get back. Tri-C, explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career opportunities and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We'll come back in a moment. You can follow us on Facebook. Get your picture, get your name on it by responding to our question of the day. We got a great question for today, and that comes your way at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. The D-man, Dennis-Manoloff, and I return in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery, Partners in Education, where stars shine.
This portion of More Sports and Les-Levine brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. They've got 3 great locations, West 140th Street in Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard in Eastlake, and Freeway Drive, that's the new one, in Macedonia. Let's check out the birthdays. Charles Comiskey, the old owner of the White Sox, who apparently one of the reasons there was the Black Sox scandal. Gene Upshaw, Lisa Carr, 1947. Terry Walsh Jennings, there's some talk she may come back to the Olympics. And a couple of Indians relievers. There you see, well, that's Adam Simber on the left, and of course, Oliver Perez, born in 1981. 216-575-0403. D-Man, a quickie, came up with it last night on the show. How come the Browns are having so much trouble finding a place kicker at Lou Groza Boulevard?
Yeah.
I mean, where else would you look for a place kicker other than Lou Groza?
It's a good one. Les, before we get into the Browns, I wanted to go back to the birthdays. You talk about Comiskey,
Sure,
and the 100th anniversary of the Black Sox scandal.
Right about now,
I mean,
the ruling came down.
What was fascinating to me of years ago when I was subbing for Hoynes on the Indians beat, I'm down at Great American Ballpark, and I'm in the bowels of the ballpark, and I'm looking at their banners, their World Championship banners, and they got 1919. I'm like,
an X?
You really want to put that? You really want to put that one up there? I mean,
how about if you want to change
know,
history? How about if they didn't get if the judge didn't make a ruling when he did in late August, and the Indians, because of that, the Indians went on to win the World Series, or win the pennant and the World Series in 1920. But you would have had the Black Sox in 19 and 20 maybe in the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, we mentioned Shane-Bieber in some exclusive company. He reaches the 200 strikeout mark in a season as a rookie at the age of 24. He's the youngest Indians pitcher to reach 200 strikeouts since Dennis Eckersley at the age of 21. And then he's the 13th player in team history to reach 200 Ks in a season. I'm guessing Bob Feller might have been one of them. 5th player to reach 200 this season, Cole, Sale, Verlander, and Bauer.
Yeah, and he also did it in 161 innings, which is one of the fastest in franchise history, if not the fastest, to 200.
To me, he's the surprise of the year. That goes into our Facebook question, which we'll go into later, but I think he's the surprise performer.
That's a great point you make. I mean, I wouldn't say shocked because he showed signs last year that he was going to be good, but I don't know that anybody could have projected him to be this good, this fast.
Right.
I mean, he looks like Kluber 2.0. And he doesn't have the absolute wipeout stuff that Kluber has when he's on, but he's a pretty darn good facsimile. And his control and command are really, really good, and his demeanor on the mound, nothing speeds up on him.
All right. I don't know if I told this to you when you were on the air or maybe
Yes.
Bud Shaw. When I look at him, there's one pitcher that he reminds me of, motion and everything
Palmer.
else. Did I discuss it with you?
You did. I said that I didn't think that anybody arched his back quite like Palmer did, but I get your point.
But the shoulder going all the way back and flinging it across is Palmer.
The long, lean frame makes some sense there for sure.
Yeah, if he I don't want to say half the pitcher because he's going to be better than half the pitcher, but if he's anything like Palmer when it's all said and done, I think we'd be happy with that.
Yeah, and here's Bieber yesterday. Okay, he's not feeling well. And he goes out there and takes the ball. Not only does he take the ball, but he goes out and goes 6 innings, 2 runs against that lineup, which you don't want to face on a good day, let alone when you're not feeling well. So that shows me something, not that I needed to be shown anything by Bieber, because I already believe that he's a top-flight pitcher. But to do that when you're ill is that much more impressive.
Did you see Terry Francona the other day on Intentional Talk on MLB Network?
I did not.
Or did you hear about it?
I did not.
They dug up some old footage when he was with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Okay.
Tito was. And runners on 2nd and 3rd, and he goes into pinch hit. And he tells Tom Treblehorn, the manager, he says, I'm not going to do it. He says, what do you mean you're not going to do it? He says, Ken Kaiser's behind the plate, and we hate each other. He says, well, you got to go up there. I need you as a pinch hitter. So they decide to intentionally walk him to load the bases. And at the second and third ball, Francona and Kaiser are jawing at each other while the intentional pass is coming through. So now it's ball 4. Francona flips his bat, trots halfway down, and he gets thrown out of the game. And Trevelhorn tries to stop the merging of Kaiser and Francona. And Trevelhorn says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What did he say that got you ticked off?" He said, I've made over 3,000 calls in the big leagues. And Francona says, "Yeah, and 2,000 of them sucked." That's Francona, right?
Tito. Yeah, I mean, listen, I like Tito, so sue me. I mean, there's some people who say he mismanages games. Okay, whatever. I still want to know who's better. Find me a better man. And don't tell me Joe Madden who invented the game.
Right.
I don't want to hear about it. Find me a better manager than Terry Francona right now.
I'll go one step further on Francona. He chose to come to Cleveland when they weren't very good. And I'm sure that he could have had offers from franchises that were ready to go to the playoffs already. Wouldn't you assume?
You would think so, yes. And he stayed loyal and committed to Antonetti and Shapiro. And then even when Shapiro left, he stayed committed to Antonetti and this organization. And listen, I think that when you look at when there's a list of Indians' concerns, Terry Francona is way down the list.
But I'll tell you what I think has happened, because not so much now that he's got his lineup set better than he had at the beginning when he was calling for bunts, because I don't think, first of all, when he was with Boston, he rarely called for a bunt in his first couple of years here. But I think it was a case where he didn't feel confident enough with his lineup. I don't think he likes playing small ball in this era, but he felt he had to.
Yeah, and this is going to get me in trouble with the purists,
not
the purists, the sabermetric guys. And I like to pick and choose what advanced stats and advanced metrics I want to use when I evaluate a game. But there is a place in the game, even the 21st century MLB, there is a place for bunting, okay? You're not going to tell me that if you have a runner on second base in the 9th inning of a scoreless game with nobody out, and you have a .190 hitter at the plate who's in an 0 for 20 slump, you're not going to bunt him.
However, what you can't do,
there are spots to bunt.
Right, but what you can't do is be on second base with the potential winning run, and you try to steal third base. They're talking about
Frankie.
Yeah, it's hard to get upset with him because he's such a great player and he loves the game and all that stuff. He knows better than that. And I heard somebody on radio say, well, if he makes it, they're in great shape. 1 out and a sacrifice fly does it. Yeah, if he makes it, but you got to be sure you're going to make it.
Correct. And when they showed the camera angle from behind the plate, you could see he just didn't get a big enough lead. I think he had too much respect for the pick move or the potential Sutcliffe by whoever it was, Walden maybe, that was on the mound. He just didn't get in a big enough lead.
And Mercado didn't do him any favors. Mercado moved out of the way so the throw could be made.
Yeah, that's right. You got a case there where Mercado's head spinning because he's trying to get a knock, and he doesn't know that Lindor's taken off.
Exactly.
But what I did appreciate is Lindor, the unquestioned leader of the club, after the game taking ownership of it, and instead of saying, getting prickly with the reporters or not being available.
No. He owned up.
He owned it. Yeah.
All right, so our Facebook question of the day, which Indians player has surprised you the most this year? Mine was Shane-Bieber. Let's take a look at what people had to say about that as we check out. There you go. Ted Moon says Jason Kipnis, I think. Since you asked for one, does the rotation count? Mr. Francona is our MVP. Gregory Mees, Carlos Santana's unprecedented season. He's the backbone of the team. Thank God they were smart enough to get him back. I love Carlos Santana like he loves Cleveland. Carl St. John's, Plesac if I have to pick one, but there are several. Bieber, Mercado, Perez, and Kipnis. Dennis Davis says Roberto Perez. I was surprised that Gomes was traded. Perez has done very well as the full-time catcher. Jim Nagley says Shane-Bieber, did not expect him to be the ace. How about Andy Mees? Shane-Bieber has avoided the dreaded sophomore jinx and stepped up to be the ace starting pitcher in the absence of Kluber and Cookie as well as having losing Clevenger for a big chunk of the season. He may be only 24 years old, but he's handled himself like a seasoned veteran.
Excellent Facebook post there by Andy Mees. I mean, I agree. It's hard to argue Bieber. I was thinking maybe a secondary guys on the surprise list Roberto Perez, of course, but he's hit a wall. I mean,
Yes.
and he's really slumped lately. He's been stuck on 19 homers for a while, but he's still a surprise. Mercado was a guy that I was classifying as a surprise up until a few weeks ago when he hit the skids.
Right.
Nick Goody was a heck of a surprise with an ERA sitting around $1.50, except he hangs the slider to Bogarts yesterday,
Right.
and it's a 3-run home.
How about 3 home runs to the front row of the grandstand? Mercado won't be in the lineup tonight.
Okay, do we have the lineup yet? Do we
Yeah,
know who?
well, we know.
Who's batting number 2?
That would be Greg Allen.
Greg Allen. Okay.
Yeah, behind Lindor.
Allen's shown a little bit of life. Why
Little
not?
bit.
I mean, Mercado needs a. I assume you said he's not in the lineup at all.
That's
so
correct.
a mental health day, if you will, just to get a break.
Right.
I saw it yesterday's
Reyes
game.
will be the DH, of course.
Yeah, Les. Yesterday's game, I didn't like the passes at the ball that Mercado was taking. It looked like a guy who was searching up there, trying to just get his bat on the ball. I know I think he had a dink single, but he's pressing, no doubt about it.
This portion of More Sports and Les-Levine is brought to us by Northeast Factory Direct with 3 great locations. I'll tell you what, somebody just asked me today, as you see the locations out there, is it a club? Do you need a membership? Absolutely not. Northeast Factory Direct will take care of that. Alex, the owner, make sure that you don't have to spend too much money to get some of the same items you'll find in some of the big expensive retail stores, but you're going to pay quite a bit less than that. In fact, they pay about 1/10 the cost of rent that the big box stores pay. And what does that mean to you? It means they pass the savings on to you. 3 locations, West 140th Street in Cleveland, the old B&B Appliance on Lakeland Boulevard in Eastlake, and of course the new one, Freeway Drive in Macedonia, or check out everything they have at northeastfactory.com. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. Coming up is the Ohio Super Night, Sunday, September 1st. Ohio Super Night features 8 $300,000 championship races totaling over $2.5 million in purses. Post time for the live racing is at 6 p.m. Enter to win the prize drawings from 6 to 10 p.m. You could win cash, Caribbean cruises, a trip to Las Vegas, or a 2019 Buick Encore. And many more games and food trucks available from 6 to 9. All at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. When we come back, we'll check out Freddie-Kitchens, see what he has to say in Indianapolis. Dennis-Manoloff is with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
I think he's got a grasp of the offense. The offense is what we were running last year. Terminology and stuff like that. He's got a good grasp of the offense. He's going to continue to get better. It's the little intricacies though that make a difference a lot of times. It's the little things that people never really see about protection adjustments and protection heights and sights and how do you get people with the best matchup with formatting it and stuff like that. So. He's going to continue to grow. He's always going to grow. He's always going to be growing from that standpoint.
But you see him getting better in those intricacy things?
Yeah, definitely. Every day.
Baker said he feels like he was wanting to play quarterback in Cleveland now that he's here, he's experienced it? Why do you think that's such a good fit?
You know, I think Baker, he's always been told no, all right? And so when people are always told no, they have a sense of, I'm going to show you yes. And I think that's what has been his calling card. And I love that about him. I love that about the Cleveland fans. They've always been told no. I want everybody to rally together. And, you know, we're going to build something here that people are not going to be able to tell us no, you know? So we control that. Nobody outside influence, no outside expectations. None of that's controlled. You know, we control what we do. It's not the expectations. So as long as we do that, we'll be fine. You know?
So do you think Baker will be able to keep that same fire lit and that same intensity when he's not being called now?
I think his internal relentless desire to compete will get him wherever he wants to go.
That's Freddie-Kitchens yesterday in Indianapolis, and you know they talked about not wanting to have fights, and a few broke out today, D-Man. You know that's all part of it, and they pretended to try to stop it, sort of a wrestling move, I would guess, but they knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, you can't have joint practices with two different teams and expect there to be kumbaya the whole way. I mean, guys are fighting for jobs, and when that happens, it's going to get chippy and overzealous. You had mentioned something while we were playing the clip of Freddie-Kitchens. I know you're going to laugh. Maybe some people laugh. It can't be easy to be Kitchens every day answering questions.
Yeah, and it's new to him.
Not just Kitchens, but yeah, any coach, especially one who's a rookie. I mean, every day it's like in camp, what are you supposed to say?
Yeah, what's new that you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, he wants, and the media is doing its job. Okay, give us a daily Odell update. Well, we're not worried about him. We're not worried about him. He'll be ready to go. Well, who knows?
If he's not ready, you'll hear about it then.
Yeah, I mean, given that Odell has played, 16 of 32 games the past two regular seasons? Yes. I'd rather be overly cautious now than, let's run him out there, potentially aggravate whatever that hip is. Next thing you know, he's questionable for the opener.
Don't you have timing issues with Baker and him?
You do, but I would rather sacrifice that if it means getting Odell to the starting line in as good a shape as he can be in physically.
Right.
And we're seeing it with receivers in general. The big name receivers. Julio Jones famously said, "I'm not playing in the preseason." These receivers, they have a very high opinion of themselves.
Sure.
And that's why
that's the diva position.
They become divas. And part of that, I think, is they want people paying attention to them. And another part is they don't like training camp. And they figure that because they're so valuable in their minds and their team acknowledges it, they're going to try to just bob and weave their way to the first game. Antonio Brown. Okay, so Brown has his feet frostbitten with the cryotherapy. Then all of a sudden the helmet's a problem. He's figuring out a way. How can I limit the amount of time I spend in camp? Just get me to the regular season. That's what these veteran receivers seem to do.
Okay, I've been covering Browns coaches since I believe I want to say Sam Rutigliano.
Okay.
Actually, maybe Forrest Gregg. I don't remember for sure. So I haven't made this statement about a head coach like I'm going to make now.
Uh-oh.
I had my first opportunity to have a sit-down with Freddie-Kitchens Monday. I was on Baskin and Phelps, and Andy and I had him, and we talked a few minutes before the interview, a few minutes after. Here's what I'd like to say. What I'm about to say, I don't say lightly. I don't know if he can coach or not. I don't know if he was the right choice. But I'll tell you what, you got to pull for the guy. He is a nice man. He understands who he is and what he is, and quite a bit of humility and not cockiness. And I liked what I saw. Now, can he coach? That'll be determined by the record.
Right, and I'm the same way. I don't know if he can coach in the NFL, but I like what you talked about. It was one of the reasons why I was I'm going to say pounding the drum, but I was one of those who said I think the Browns should take a long look at hiring Kitchens to be their head coach, because I felt if they didn't, he was going to get hired by somebody else. Now, I don't know if that would have happened, but I liked so much about him, including the obvious rapport with Mayfield, the knowledge of offense, his pedigree. I mean, if you played quarterback for Gene Stallings, that's good enough for me.
Right.
You know, right out of the gate. And the people who had vouched for him, I mean, these are guys who, you know, are who's who in the NFL and past and present, saying this guy is legit. So I think that he has the attributes. We'll wait. We'll have to see.
How about this? Before the interview, Andy and I are talking to him, and Andy says something about how much did you play in the Ohio State game, the Outback Bowl or whatever it was in Tampa, had to be in the mid-'90s. And he didn't play in the game, but he reeled off every stat that there was to reel off, and he named almost the entire starting lineup for Ohio State. And how many games do you think he's been involved in since then? And still he had that one right in his wheelhouse.
Right, and I'm not saying this isn't uncommon, because it is, or this is uncommon.
It's common.
Because it is common that a rookie coach brings in guys who have experience. But to me, it shows he's also secure in his own skin, that he brings Wilkes in and he brings Monken in, among two guys, one of whom has been a head coach. The other one is potentially a head coach down the road. So Kitchens is not worried about that. In fact, he embraces it. And, you know, I do want to say this, though, Les. I was watching the other day Jeff Fisher. I believe he was on Colin Cowherd. Jeff Fisher, the former coach of the Rams. And he was talking about how much delegation goes on as your coaching career unfolds. He says you start out wanting to be, you know, take everything on and do everything, but eventually you're going to offload a lot of stuff.
Well, that's what I think is going to
calling.
happen with play calling.
So I think it'll happen eventually, but it sounds as though now Kitchens is, in fact, going to call the place.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame coming up on the 18th of September. It's a Wednesday night. It's at Landerhaven and Mayfield Heights, opening up the door for, well, you see the numbers up there. 6 new people: Otis Chapman, racquetball; John Malloy, hockey; Tony Miller, of course, basketball; and Tom Lucci, tennis; Urban Meyer, I believe, is a football guy, right? Urban. And Rob Moss, golf. I've heard a lot of great things about all of these people. Looking forward to it. Wednesday, September 18th at Landerhaven. And for tickets, call 216-241-1919 or go to admin@cleveland-sports-hall.com. Like to see out the full house. We expect a full house, and we'd like to make sure of that. When we come back, Baker Mayfield spoke yesterday from Indianapolis about the Cleveland Browns. Let's check it out after these messages with the D-Man, Dennis-Manoloff, brought to you exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Good first day's work, you know, still got a ways to go. Got to be a little bit more physical. But I thought we tempoed well. You know, played a lot. Kept the ones in there for a long drive on the move the ball period. Did some good things, but we'll see the tape.
Does it help to go against another team? Does it change the energy level at all?
Absolutely. Anytime you get to hit somebody else and not your own teammates, or you know exactly what they're doing because you practice against them so many days in a row, that's always great. And just seeing different looks and different things and being able to, you know, take it back to your day one reads and your rules and all that is great for us to see.
It's one thing to go up against, you know, another NFL team, but expectations are so high for you guys, also with the Colts. How nice was that to go up against one of the top teams in the league this year?
That's great. You know, anytime you can compete against some of the best, that's where you get better. You know, they say iron sharpens iron, so that's the way to do it. And so coming out here is a good thing for us.
Baker, Nick Chubb was saying in the offseason he really wanted to work on becoming a better pass catcher out of the field. He really hasn't had to do it a whole lot in his career, even in college. Does he look any more fluid, or does he look more comfortable doing it?
Absolutely. You know, I think as the year went on last year, he got better and better, knowing what type of offense we were continuing to evolve into. And so he's worked on that, and he's making some good plays for us. And conceptually, he understands what we're doing in the pass game, too.
Baker, we haven't seen Odell in very many team periods, you know, even recently. So what impact is that having, you know, on you, not really having many opportunities to throw the ball?
It's getting guys ready, you know, the next man up mentality. You know, obviously he's going to be ready to go when it's time to play. You know, him sitting out and doing some of these things mentally is him getting used to the offense and seeing different things, hearing us communicate it. And so when he comes out there, he can be full speed and know exactly what to do. But it's great for those other guys to get out there and get a chance to see the change of pace. And just so we have, I mean, the more guys that are ready to play with that first group, the better.
You think you guys can... Last year, you and Higgins just really got, you know, mentally together. I mean, are you missing out on being able to do that with Odell?
No, I think that'll come with time. You know, I think Higgins that came because he was my guy on that second team offense last year and throughout all those reps in the offseason. So, no, it'll come with time. Just like Jarvis and I's chemistry grew as well.
This portion of More Sports and Les-Levine presented to you by Northeast Factory Direct with 3 great locations in Northeast Ohio, East, West, and South. Dennis-Manoloff, the D-man, is with us. First of all, give Baker credit. I assume there were some kids there as part of something asking questions, and he didn't slough them off. He responded to them as he would have to anybody. Yeah. So good for him.
Class act there. I'm just checking Twitter from today. 10 minutes ago, Beckham says his lack of team reps with Baker-Mayfield is, quote, not something I'm worried about. I got to take him at his word on that one. I'll tell you what does worry me less beyond Austin the kicker and the kicking competition, right guard. Much, in my mind, much more important, in most people's minds, much more important than a kicking competition. Austin Corbett, I mean, it doesn't look good for Austin Corbett.
They've been trying to hand him the job, and he won't take it.
It looks like he's already been passed up and bypassed. And I've read where some people have said, okay, he's the center in waiting, after Treader is gone. But that's disappointing that the high second-round pick by Dorsey,
right,
given this opportunity, they traded a really good right guard in Zeitler, and Corbett couldn't take advantage of it.
All right, so let's say if Corbett doesn't make it and Seibert, the kicker, doesn't make it, what does that say about John Dorsey?
Well, I mean,
those are high picks.
Too early, yeah. I mean the
for
fifth-round pick, I wasn't all up in arms like some were, but if he flops and it looks like he could potentially get beat out by Joseph, then you say, all right, that was a wasted pick. The Corbett one is obviously the concern. Now, the Browns might very well say that Corbett is going to be around and he's depth and all that, but still, you can't tell me that they didn't have him, pegged for that starting right guard this year, and he just didn't. He didn't deliver.
No question about that. If you need new furniture and you want really nice stuff and you don't want to pay a full amount of money, you don't want to spend outrageous amounts, well, you got to check out Northeast Factory Direct. Sofas and sectionals and theater seating, as well as mattresses, kitchen tables, dining room sets, hot tubs, you name it, pool tables. kitchen cabinets, granite countertops, and much, much more. Same stuff, if not nicer, than you're going to find at the big, expensive retail stores, but they're going to pay, well, actually, Northeast Factory Direct is only going to pay about 10% of the rent that the big box stores will be spending for you. Check it out, 3 great locations, West 140th Street in Cleveland, the old B&B Appliance on Lakeland Boulevard and the Freeway Drive, that's in Macedonia, or check out everything that you want and they have at Northeast Factory Direct. Had a chance to go to Sokolowski's University Inn today, as I usually do on Thursday. Great sports talk there, that's for sure. And it's, as far as I'm concerned, no place better for lunch if you are downtown. You don't want to pay for parking. Just cross the bridge, go to the Abbey Avenue exit. That's where you're going to find Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. Is Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant, located in Tremont, established by their grandparents back in 1923. We'll come back in a moment. You might be interested in hearing what Colin Cowherd had to say about Baker Mayfield's last couple of comments. We'll check that out and more exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Hey man, let's check out this date in sports history. August 15th, 1984, Pete Rose returns to Cincinnati for the first time in 6 years to be player manager of the Cincinnati Reds. During that time, he had played for Philadelphia and Montreal. That was the obvious choice, wasn't it, at the time? Pete Rose to be the player manager?
Yes.
Didn't work out very well, but that's another story for another day. Let's check out this date in Les-Levine history, August 15th, 1983. That's me on the bottom right. With 2 outs in the 6th inning, Les is on second base. The batter hits a line drive to the second baseman. Les, of course, heads to third, and the second baseman steps on the base. He then asks the umpire if the 4th out carries over to be the first out of the next inning. What kind of stupidity is that? All right, let's, this being the last show of the week, let's check out the week in review. August 12, 1987. While coaching a Little League team, Les has to explain the infield fly rule to one of the umpires. Another umpire throws Les out of the game. Then we go to the 13th. While playing sandlot ball in Cleveland, Les tells the 12-year-old bat boy to ask the coach to go get him the key to the batter's box. Ever do that? No. Les leads the charge from the dugout when the opposing pitcher threw 3 straight pitches at one of his teammates. It was a slow-pitch softball game. Imagine that.
Kitchens would love you.
Yeah, you got to back him up, no question about that. All right, Baker Mayfield had some things to say, and then Colin Cowherd responds. Here's what Baker says. I think in the media and everything that comes with the hype around our team right now, people want to see us lose just because the hype is so real. Well, Colin Cowherd, usually going against Baker, does it again. He says this is totally false. This is on Fox Sports Radio. Everyone is rooting for Cleveland outside of Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. The country is rooting for Cleveland. The network is rooting for Cleveland. Vegas is rooting for Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and the Browns are fun, and I don't want to see them go 0-16. Nobody rooting for you to lose either, Baker. Everybody wants to see you win. D-Man, you're not okay with that. You all right? Wake up.
This is why I wish that the human body could withstand 20 games of an NFL season.
There's too much time on their hands.
Eyes with a
fork,
needle or a fork. Too many quotes. Oh, the endless off season. I try to be patient when August hits and say, we're 1 month away. But you get this, this stuff is so tired. The Mayfield versus Coward, and Coward fights back, and Mayfield and Coward. Enough! Start the daggone season.
All right, let's listen to somebody who understands what this is all about. That's Ron, who has called us on our voicemail of Truth and Reason. Let's hear the question or the statement from Ron.
Hi, Les. This is Ron Byer. Hey, Les, short rant about two things I dislike about my favorite sport, NFL football. Number one, prima donna players. Number two, preseason football games. Eliminate them. They do no more than shaft the fans out of money. My changes would be reduce the length of preseason, make it all mandatory, full padded regulated practices, incorporate weeks like this one against other NFL teams with regulated full pad practices ending in full padded regulated scrimmages with fans paying only $5 or $10, all going to charity. And last, add 2 games to the regular season. The final result, more in-shape players, reducing injuries, and fans paying for more meaningful games.
Okay. First of all, that won't cut down on injuries going 18 full-go games.
And
that's number one.
It's not going to, the season will not go to 18. Players won't agree to it.
And the owners don't want $5 to go to charity when they can charge $100 for full-price tickets.
Right, and what people often forget, Les, is the NFL has come up with one of the great cons in professional sports history, which is the preseason.
Absolutely.
Because they're giving you 4 worthless games, a month's worth of games.
With your starters playing 4 minutes.
Yes, your big guns playing basically nothing, and you're able to rob the public blind, and you get TV ratings for a football-starved, viewership.
Right.
And don't forget about Vegas and betting.
Well, how can
you get all this for nothing.
Absolutely.
I mean, 4 low investment opportunities to bring you piles of cash.
Well, it's not going to save them money because the players will want 20% more or whatever that works out financially, so the owners have to come up with that, and they're not going to agree with that either. To thank Ron, we disagree with you tonight, but that doesn't mean you should stay. Yeah, that doesn't mean you should stop writing in. Ohio Super Night features 8 $300,000 championship races at Northfield Park, totaling over $2.5 million in purses. The post-time live racing begins at 6 p.m. Enter to win cash prizes from 6 to 10 p.m. You could win cash Caribbean cruises, a trip to Las Vegas, or a 2019 Buick Encore. Food trucks from Barrio, Smash Time, and Crooked Kettle Popcorn on site from 6 to 9 p.m. Live music by Rick and Sharona, that's from 5:30 to 8:30. And it's Lady Luck's Buffet, $19.95. Call for reservations 330-467-4101, all from Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come back. We'll take a look at some How Come Quickies and a couple of final comments from Dennis and the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason. When we get back, more sports and Les-levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine. New content is posted each and every day. You can call the voicemail of Truth and Reason 24 hours, now 23 hours a day, not the hour. I guess you can call while we're on. 216-200-6650. Call anytime, leave us a message, and we could be using those messages in a future show. Of course, you see us live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can archive us for any show past or current on cleveland.com. All right, time to look at some How Come Quickies sent in.
Yes, sir.
Listen, our regular Quickie people, they're called on the carpet tonight by Mitch in Kent, who submitted 6. Wow. He didn't spread it out during the week or 2 weeks. He submitted 6. Mitch wants to know, how come we have air conditioner but no air shampoo?
That's not bad.
How come the word Q, Q-U-E-U-E, could also be spelled Q, Q? How come stealing somebody's coffee is called a mugging?
I mean, I had a 1.5 second delayed response to that, but
I held
like
up.
that.
I held up.
How
come whoever invented knock-knock jokes should get a Nobel Prize? Knock-knock, Nobel.
Yeah.
How come if it's past your eyes, it's too far to see, if it's past your eyes? And
I've heard that
finally,
before.
How come grandma on speed dial is called Instagram?
That's good.
That's good. Mr. Gullible, who's been on assignment the last week or so, comes in and says, how come when a psychiatrist told me I was obsessed with revenge, I said, we'll see about that?
Nice.
How come when a guy fell into an infinity pool, it took forever to get him out?
That's tremendous.
I'm not sure if you're going to like this. You're either going to really like it or really not like it. It's from John Patrick, our prolific emailer. Hi, Les and Dennis. How come people who are born again don't have 2 belly buttons? I'm guessing you don't like that one.
For a number of reasons.
It's an excellent try, but a little just off to the left. Okay, we've got about a minute. Indians and Yankees, 4-game series. What do they have to do?
I know that the Yankees pitching has been suspect as starting pitching, but I think realistically when you're on the road against an 81-41 team to start the series, you think split. I think the Indians should hope to get out of there with 2, and 3 would be fantastic.
How about somebody like Jose Ramirez saying, is that the same Urshela that we have batting 4th? Is that the same guy?
He really does look like a different cat at the plate. We always knew he could field. We didn't think he could hit. He's found new life in New York, and they're very grateful for him.
I heard I think Baskin and Phelps talking today about Yasiel Puig, and they say he's a Yankee uniform away from being there next year. I don't know that. I think the Yankees are loaded when everybody gets back. I mean, it's hard to say you wouldn't take Yasiel Puig, but I think they got enough stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to forget they have Stanton and Judge and those guys. So
Judge not in the lineup tonight?
He's not? Okay.
I don't think so.
I mean,
hold on, Brian, is he in? I don't think he is.
Will everybody rise then? But,
Brian will give us an official verdict.
Well, I was quickly thinking too, going back to the exhibition games, we have only ourselves to blame. Because we keep railing against, not just we meaning not just media, but everybody. We keep railing against the preseason, and guess what? The ratings come in, and look at the ratings for Browns Redskins. through the roof.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, my mistake. Judge is batting second tonight.
Okay.
He's back.
So,
He's in the lineup.
you know, we could continue to say preseason's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible, nobody cares, but they do care.
No, but the argument that they keep buying tickets, you have to buy. If you're a season ticket holder, you're forced to buy the tickets.
Right.
Doesn't mean you like it.
I'm talking about the element of the viewership, the TV viewership, the all-important advertisements that are sold just on preseason games alone.
All right, we got to go. When's your next gig on 1100 WTAM?
Friday night, tomorrow night. I'll be doing Indians Yankees post game.
Excellent. All right, that'll do it for us tonight. Thanks to the D-Man, Dennis-manoloff. I'll see you on Monday. Jim Ingram will join us, Bud Shaw on Tuesday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.